And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a new set for Dicemasters, which you know I'm always excited about because I love Dicemasters, and that's Green Arrow and the Flash. Wonder why these guys are out here. That's because, of course, their TV shows are so popular now. But this is the first Dicemasters set that I know of, well, it is, the first Dicemasters set that does not have a starter set. So these are just going to be a pile of boosters. So I'm going to be showing you just a pile of different cards that come with this set and all the different abilities. Here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the different dice that are in this game, or in this expansion anyway. And there's some really cool things. We're starting to see some dual speckled dice here. And this one here for Batgirl is really nice. You'll notice this one here is also kind of a dual swirl. I guess they're trying to make every die different after a while. This one I think is a very nice clear die, the green one. And of course this one, Captain Cold. And of course it looks almost like the Iceman dice, although I think it's actually nicer than the Iceman dice. The only one that I think that I would not, this one's a little hard to read, maybe the white with green. But even the clear dice in this set look good. And you can see there's no like one color that dominates. There's a lot of different colors here. Now this seems pretty unfair here if you look at these two cards. We have Hal Jordan and we have Wonder Girl. And you see that Wonder Girl here is a 3/3. Hal Jordan's a 5/5, and they both cost 2. What's the difference? Well, the difference is the cost here of Hal Jordan. He is what is called a crossover character. So to get him, you can use 2, but this won't work because I need to have both the energy and the stealth. So I would need to have both of those on a die. You'll notice though that crossover dice will have 2 different types of energy on them, which is kind of a neat thing because it allows you, for example, here's a picture, here's one. It basically shows you different, it gives you an opportunity for different types, but they're more expensive to buy initially. So there's a lot of crossover cards in this set. We'll talk a little bit more about them. The other big thing about this set here is the fact that there are foil cards. All right, now I got a lot of foil cards. I don't know how many came in my thing. I'd say 20 to 30. I didn't get one every pack, maybe every 4 packs or so. And I got all different types of foil cards. So here's the difference between a regular card and a foil card. The foil card obviously is very shiny and also has a watermark of that character's symbol in the background. Other than that, they're functionally identical. Okay, here's the Captain Cold ones. I like the foil ones better. They look cooler, but I don't know that they're necessary. As with all the gravity feeds these days, I did get 2 ultra rares in this set, in this pack, and both of them were foil. So I don't know if all ultra rares are foil or not, or if I just got super lucky. By the way, you know, this White Lantern Wonder Woman is amazing, but she's a crossover character that needs every single type, and you cannot use question marks to get her, which is crazy expensive. But when she comes out, she has an impulse ability. An impulse ability, when you purchase them, you can use that ability right away, and she can just KO someone as soon as she shows up. So there's that. All right, so let's get back to looking at the characters. You already saw some plain characters. Here we have Black Canary and Gorilla Grodd, both of these. Gorilla Grodd's one of the more expensive characters I've seen that's blank. And here we got the Weathered Wizard. When he's blocked by a non-crossover character, he gets +2 attack. Here's Hal Jordan, another crossover character. And if all your characters are crossover, you get to draw an extra die. Gorilla Grodd here can only be blocked by crossover character dice. Digger here, or Diggle, costs 1 less for each of your active crossover dice. So there's a lot of the characters in this set are crossover or have something to do with the crossover characters. There's also Synergy. Synergy is basically a special ability that characters have that they can use. While Jay Garrick is active, when your opponent uses a global ability, you can pay 2 different types of energy here to cancel that ability, which are on his die actually, but still, you can cancel someone else's ability, which is kind of neat. Or Green Arrow has a synergy here. When an opposing action targets one of your character dice, you can pay that much to target a new target, which is really cool, although they're going to be very cautious about doing that if you have Green Lantern in play. So there are many different types of cards with synergy. I've already mentioned Impulse. When you buy a card that has Impulse, it will do something. So for example, here a target a crossover character die gets +2 attack and +2 defense. And that will happen when you buy this die. So that's kind of an interesting thing. So when you buy these dice, or here, a target level 1 character die is unblockable this turn. That's a really cool idea. There's also Cross Pulse, which is very similar to Impulse, but Cross Pulse means when I buy her, when you buy Black Canary, you can use the Impulse. When I buy Zatanna, I have to use only Strength and only Stealth for the Cross Pulse to work. So all 4 of the energy I spend must be those 2 types. If that happens, then her ability goes off. So Cross Pulse abilities are much stronger than your typical ones. All right, let's take a look at some of the other cards that are in this set. We got Clayfist and the Cosmic Treadmill. So the Cosmic Treadmill, I don't know so much about DC Comics, but this almost sounds like a joke. But look, this one lets you re-roll 2 dice, and for each one that rolls the type, you do a damage here. Clayface gets to go after crossover characters. Captain Cold's Cold Gun. This is cool. Just does 2 damage to target character die, which is great, but just remember it's a crossover die, so more expensive. And then it can get better here, having a continuous effect against people who use global abilities. Or here, when you use a global ability, you can send this die to the use pile to do 3 damage to target character dice. There are several cards in this set which deal with global abilities, which is kind of neat. This set brings back some of the stuff from other sets. Team Watch here. You can pay 1 if the Teen Titan die you fielded is a shield character die. Superman, this is one I like. When you buy this die, it goes right to your prep area. He just shows up. I also like the classic picture here of Superman racing against the Flash. Here, when you buy this die, you add it to your bag. And then when Superman's active, your action dice cost 2 less. So that's pretty neat. I like both of these a lot. They are very expensive. Here we have Static. When your opponent rolls 2 or more dice, he goes up. We have Star Labs. There's a lot of text in this card, but whenever you could use a global ability, you can send this die to the use pile to give a target energy or shield character die regenerate. And you will gain X life if that character die uses regenerate this turn, where X is its new level. So there's a lot of different things on here, including a global ability. So there's a lot of new cards. Speedy here is fast. They do damage before the opponent, so they can kill them before they get killed, which is pretty helpful because she only has 1 defense, but has 5 attack on her up 1. Roy Harper here, when he's fielded, he can target another die that's of the Green Arrow Persuasion, that becomes fast. Here, you can add both of the chalkboards I got are very interesting. They let you add all the dice in your bag to your use pile. And then for each of the 2 types of energy that comes from Rip Hunter's chalkboard, you can do something. Here you gain 1 life. Here you can add 3 to your prep area. Both of those are super powerful and cool, but you're going to have to work hard to build a deck around them. Ra's al Ghul, when he's fielded, just targets an opponent's attack becomes 1. Yeah, you have Superman. I'm sorry, his attack is now 1. We have Professor Zoom, who's fast, and all opposing characters can't get fast. When this guy's fielded, if they don't have any villain, he does 1 damage to them. Merlin here can pay 2 energy to give a non-crossover character -2 and a crossover character +2. Here's another fast. There's a lot of fast stuff in this set. Martian Manhunter does not let villains block. King Shark. Now, I don't know if King Shark is a rarer die or not. I only got one of him in the whole set that I have here. But you can sacrifice him to do 2 damage to all opposing character dice, which is kind of neat. Killer Frost. Oh, that wasn't Captain Cold that has that really cool die. It's Killer Frost. Sorry about that. They can't be blocked by non-villain character dice with a cost of 5 or more. Giganta here. You can spin her up a level, and then if you do, she's not blockable by sidekick dice. This guy, if you have basically one of each of the 4 energy types, you double his attack and defense. It's really neat. And these are cards that are not my top 10 favorite cards, and they're still really cool. Here, when she's fielded, you can change a sidekick character to its question mark side, which is interesting because I don't know how awesome that is, but it's a very interesting card. Here, you can target opposing level 1 villain character die. Here you can choose a villain or a guy with a target symbol. All dice cost 1 less for them. More team watch stuff here. You can kill Deadshot to kill a level 1 character die. Pretty neat. All villains get regenerate when Black Adam is around. Batgirl, when she's active, your opponent cannot target your character dice with character abilities. That's really neat. When he's active, whenever you could use a global ability, you can spin down one of your Atom dice. And then we have good old Barry Allen. So there's a lot of different cards in this set. I'm just going to show you my 10 favorite of the ones that I have at this point in time. So number 10 here is Diggle. When he's active, you can spend shields as wilds. Not a huge thing, but if you buy a couple Diggles, and I know he's expensive at 5, and all your shields become wilds, that really helps you out, especially with just getting all these different dice out, especially if you're like a team of different energy types. Huntress here, whenever you roll a wild, you can spin each Huntress dice up a level for each wild rolled. So you can get her up to her top level, and for 3, getting her to her top level pretty quickly is nice. Number 8, when Dr. Light is active, opposing sidekicks cannot block. Ha ha ha, I love this card. You have sidekicks? Well, they can't block, and here comes all my big guns. Death Strike here has a cross pulse, which is really powerful. It kills all opposing sidekick dice. Now remember, it is cross pulse, so it is harder to pull off because you need both energies when you're buying him. But if you can do that, it's really neat. Black Adam and Cyborg are my next two that I really like, and it's because they're like two sides of the same coin. When he's active, when an attacking character die is KO'd, it goes to the use pile, and when he's blocking, any die that he KOs with combat damage is sent to the use pile. So I think he might be a little bit better with power, but he has better stats. Really cool, though. So your stuff's going into the use pile. You don't get to get KO'd and bring it back again. Number 4, really powerful cross pulse. Although, you know, cross pulses are hard to pull off. But all the character dice in the field get fast. Really neat. And this could be a game winner if played at the right time. Number 3, Gorilla Grodd. This guy's super expensive, but when he's active, all your character dice get overcrush, which means any extra damage they do to the person that they're attacking goes and hits your opponent. This, again, you bring him out, this could be a complete game changer. Really like him. And your other character dice get +1 attack. Come on now. Clayface, number 2, I can replace his attack and defense with a target character's dice. So I can switch his attack and defense with somebody else. And considering you can put him out for 0 and a 3-2, really neat idea, neat concept. But my favorite one is another Firestorm here. When he attacks, deal 1 damage to your opponent for each different energy type of character dice in your field zone. If you have a rainbow team, and I like running the rainbow teams, I call them rainbow, but 4 different types of energy, and I have them out every time that he attacks, your opponent takes 4, no matter what, and they still have to block Firestorm. It's a neat concept. They're likely going to let him come through, if possible, just so he doesn't keep doing that. But if they don't, that's another 4 damage to them next turn. So those are some of the cards. There's a lot I haven't shown you, but there's a lot of great cards in this set. Okay, so interesting set. First of all, the fact that there's no starters. Some people might be upset about that, but I don't care. I think we have enough basic action cards at this point in time. So let's just add more stuff. I think that's good. I'm not as knowledgeable about the Flash and Arrow universes. I don't watch the TV shows as much. I know who Captain Cold is and stuff, but I don't know a lot of different characters. Gorilla Grodd, I know him from the comics a bit. So I'm kind of not going here as much as how cool the characters are, but the special abilities. So that's interesting. I'll talk about that in a second, but I think we should talk about foils, right? Now, foils are going to drive collectors insane. I don't know how many foils there are. Is there a whole set of foils? That's going to make people go crazy if you're trying to get a whole set of foils. For me, the foil cards are really cool. I can add them and use them or not use them. Right? It doesn't matter to me that much if I have a foil. If I have one, great. I'll use a foil card over a non-foil card because they look neat. But I don't think it hurts gameplay at all. And I know a lot of people will whine about it, but I don't see what it matters unless you must have everything, in which case you probably need help. So let's take a look at the abilities here. Well, it adds like 4 new abilities, and if you haven't bought some of the other sets, there's like 7 new abilities, because Team Watch and Fast and Regenerate, those are abilities you may not have seen before. But the impulse, having the 2 different types of energy is a really cool concept. I like it. The only thing I don't like as much about these, crossover ability. The only thing I don't like about the crossover is sometimes it's contained, like I can only be blocked by crossover. Oh, well, I'm using like a pool here of 700 characters at this point. I only have like 20 of them with crossover. That makes that character pretty powerful. So the set might work a little bit more better contained if you're going to use those types of characters. It's not as self-contained as, let's say, the Green Lantern set was. But still, these dice are really neat. They provide 2 different types of energy. They have some cool abilities. I really like the special abilities people have and the cross pulls, being able to use that and then have an ability go off right away. This is not a beginner set, I think, at all. I don't think it's super complex, but like I said, there's like 6 or 7 special abilities that are in this set, and a lot of cool combos and stuff can be pulled off. There's more things dealing with the global abilities. We were seeing not as many global abilities lately, and there's not even a ton of global abilities, at least on the cards that came in my Gravity feed, but there's a lot of mentions of global abilities, and if you could use a global ability, and if someone does use a global ability. And there's also some dice that affect the basic action cards again. I don't know, this set just feels good. It feels like, I feel like it's a meaty section to the Dicemasters. I'm starting to have some really cool stuff. Like the last set that I talked about, Spider-Man, I said, there's a great set for people jumping in. Okay, great, jump in, play Spider-Man, then come and get some of this stuff. And it's like, what does this ability do? Oh, how does that work? You probably have way different top 10s than me. I just like different cards and different ways they work. And while you're watching it, you probably saw some really cool combos. This seems like it's really tilted that way. So I think that the brand of Dicemasters is still quite strong, and it's good to see things like this that are still new and fresh ideas adding to the genre. So anyway, that's Green Arrow and the Flash, Dicemasters. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!